Hello, hello. Good morning. Happy Sunday. Hello, Luma Code. How are you doing today? I do not have a greet command. And I don't know what I want to put in one. You're doing good. That's awesome to hear. Yeah, so far things are going good. It's a Sunday, so that's nice. To get all of today to sort of like work on the stream in the morning, probably do some of the Nature of Code recording this afternoon, and then just hang out, relax. It's a nice relaxing Sunday. It's a beautiful weekend weather-wise too here. Like in the 70s Fahrenheit, which is a nice like not too hot, not too cool. And I haven't even had my my morning tea yet. So as soon as I do that, then we'll be ready to go. But it's still too hot. Just finished brewing. All right. So, what are we doing? We're doing macros. So last time we were going over macros for doing the queries, right? Macros for queries. So we're gonna move on and try some more macro stuff. If you're watching this, you want to see like the previous code, I have like commits for those. So you can go back in time and sort of like see all the code that I was doing. So this time, what we're going to be looking into is, you actually have it written down here on the whiteboard. We want to add impls for additional types to the BB ECS crates. So, what does that mean? Let's actually go take a look at that crate. So in here, let's see. We have resources and we have components. Both of them would need this essentially. So in my resource, we have an enum for the resource. We have all these possible resources that it could be, and then we have some traits here: cast and cast mute. For these, we want to cast for each of the types that it could possibly be. So if it's going to be U32, we want cast and cast mute. If it's going to be a point, we want to cast and cast mute. And if we notice, this code is almost exactly the same as each other. So really, the only difference here is the return type and maybe the error message. So that's what we want to do here. We want to figure out how we're going to re-implement that. So let's actually recreate the scenario here, but in like a very simple form, and then we'll see what we can do with macros. So create an enum. Maybe we can call these generics. So I tried using generic type stuff with it. The problem was that I need to choose which specific thing out of here to get. And I couldn't go, like, we tried generics and then it just didn't work out for us, because we don't want different types of resources. We don't want like I don't know, 50 different resources to be created behind the scenes. We just want one resource. And yeah, that's what ended up happening to us, is like generics are cool, they just weren't doing it for us. In like this specific use case. There's some nice use cases for it in the future though. We learned a lot about generics doing that. We're trying that. Okay, so let's say we have this as like a resource. So I'm gonna recreate the exact same thing that we have here, and we'll notice that we have like, it's just basically the different things. So we have a U32, which is a tuple enum, which has a U32 inside. And let's say we have an F32, and that's a tuple that has an F32 inside. So ways that we would create this, we could say are let resource equals and yeah, you store that resource equals resource like U32 15, let's say. But if I want to get the actual number out of it, which would be this U32, then I need to extract it out. So that's where this impl comes in. So if we impl, and then I have to do this. It's not really generics, but it's types. So we have to have a trait. Call this like a resource cast trait, where we can cast. I don't think we need to care about cast mute because it's pretty much going to be the same. Function cast, you take in a reference to self, and we're going to return, and this is where generics come in. We're going to return a reference to T. So I guess we need to have T here, like that. So if I now impl resource, impl resource for U32. No, wait a second. Impl resource cast for resource U32. We implement this, it's going to return a reference to a U32. Because that's what we're saying is right here. And that might be the wrong location. Not there. Here. Okay, so then what would this be out? We want to take in, we want to extract out if it's a U32. Oh, right. So we do like a match. So if let resource U32, like our number, or like maybe like a value, it's equal to self, then we're going to return. We probably want, we have an error result. Let's actually have this return a result with a reference to T inside. Lord Mist, hello. So you're going to be a reference to a U32. How are you doing today? Is Zilby in petting distance? He was right when I started streaming, and then he started like running all around the house. Zilby. I don't know. Let me go check to see if he's written back room. Zilby. Unfortunately, he's not. He's not in petting distance. I'll keep that up just in case he comes back into petting distance. Usually he does sometime during the stream. But we opened up all the windows upstairs because it's such a warm day today, so he might be watching cat TV outside the windows. All right, you're doing great. That's awesome. Okay, so if it's this value, we're going to return okay with the value inside. Now, if it's not, then we're going to essentially we can just bail. And bail, and we're just gonna have an error here saying could not cast to a U32. That would be, this would be optimal. This is what we want if we could. So then what I want to be able to do here is then say, okay, let our actual like resource, so source, I have to give it the type that it's going to be, so it's U32 equals our resource dot cast, and then we have to unwrap you, and then we can just like, you know, debug resource. So if we do this and we run it, we have resources this 15, and we can do the same thing with cast like mute, for example, to mutably get a mutable reference to the value, so then we can change it. So if I wanted to have now the ability to do F32s, we're going to need some kind of macro, or we're going to want some kind of macro to auto implement these for us, if possible. So if I wanted to do that, how would that look? Let's create a macro rules, and this will be impl resource cast. We're probably going to want the type. So maybe we'll call this the new type. It's going to be a TY. We have to have the $sign. We probably also have to have the enum resource itself. That's what I'm guessing. So we have resource. Chantilly cake, hello. And you're an expression. So can I then do impl resource cast of new type? Actually, I'm not completely convinced we need this, so I'm just going to leave that off. We're just going to try it with a new type for resource. For the type in the bail macro string, you can use the stringify macro in order to turn your... Oh, that's a super good idea. Okay. Is it stringify macro or is it format? I don't know if I've used the stringify macro. It'll be perfect to check out. Okay, so for resource, then it's essentially this. So we'll have function cast self. I can actually just copy this, put it in here. Nope. Oh, I can copy this, put it in here. Okay, so we have our function cast. In this case, it's also going to return a reference to our new type. If the resource, okay, so how are we going to grab this out? If the resource : do I want to like, I mean, I guess I could do something like pass in the arm that I want, but I don't necessarily see that that's a good idea. Let's see. We could take this and like to uppercase it to make it work here. Might not work when we get to points, but we can deal with that later. If I want to create a new variable, taking this new type, which is just U32. And I want to uppercase it. Well, maybe before I like go and try to be tricky, let's just be simple. It's not, this is probably not the best way to do it because it's just more work for us. But if I do essentially I want the specific like resource arm. So this would essentially just be the resource arm, and your ident, I think, would be an identifier. So then if let source arm value equals self, we return okay the value, and we bail. So then in here, this would be the stringify. Do not know how to pull that in. Stringify macro, how do you get used? This macro will yield an expression of type static stir. Okay. Oh, it stringifies. Does it get used with format? Because like could I do then we have to do like format. Error casting to resource. Then we do the stringify. And this would be the new type. You'd have to do something like bail, fail to cast a type. Oh, bail can do that, so I don't need the format. I didn't actually look at the bail documentation. Okay, so I can do this. So error casting to resource, this, and then we're gonna stringify the new type. Okay. Let's try it. It's not yelling at me, which is a good sign. So now where do I put these? I guess I have to put it into main somewhere. So before I do this, we're gonna say, is that true? Or do I call the macro like down here? Because I actually want it to impl at this point. So we impl resource cast like this. Then you would be an F32. And then I want this to be resource F32. You don't put the macro domain just where you put the implementation. Okay, that makes sense. So I think this is a problem. So this might need to be a something else. What are you yelling at me about? You don't know what you're yelling at me about. Could not compile. Okay. Why couldn't you compile? No rules expecting this token in a macro call. Okay, so okay, so it doesn't know what this thing is. That, I guess that makes sense. Try a TY. Oh, type? Oh, okay. Yeah, we could try a type. You're a TY. Okay. Expected a pattern, found that. So you can't be a TY, can't be an identifier. Now I wonder if I could be like if I would just put in like an F32. Then I don't think this is an expression. Then it would be a source arm value. Yeah, I don't think that. Expected identifier found F32. I think we can do a tie here either because that's not really a tie, is it? What else can I put in here? Because like obviously if I put in F32, this should be happy. And let's say I don't do any of this. Let's say we just do like the simplest possible one. We're just gonna do this full type. You should still work. Okay. And then up here, so we're gonna name this resource U32. We debug that, and let's try this again. So resource F32 equals resource F32. We'll do like 12.5. You're now a reference to an F32 equals resource F32 cast. Then we debug resource F32. Okay, this should work. And they both work here. So if we try our cargo expand, just to sort of look at this. So what was that? Cargo. Forgot. Oh, there's so many other things that are in the way now. Oh, there it is. Cargo plus nightly expand. Okay, so here's our Enum resource. Then we have the impl resource cast U32 for resource. And then we also see this impl resource cast F32 for resource. And it works out as expected. So that's a good sign. Now, what we'd like for us to be able to do is repeat that over and over again now for U32. So I don't have to have this here. We just copy this over. Because I now want to be able to do essentially impl resource cast for U32, but we have this problem here. So how am I going to deal with that without some kind of like intermediary something? Or do we need to change away from enums and move to structs with a little bit more logic inside of them? I guess we could also, as part of the enum, have like get the type. So it doesn't work if you just pass in the F32. Yeah, unfortunately, because this is like a specific arm of this, but we can try it. I know, that'd be perfect. The problem is, so let's say, if we were to try this just like this, like out here, I can't just say like U32. That's gonna yell at us saying, hey, that arm doesn't exist. It's the same problem here. So if I have like a my type, maybe we can use this as a chance to learn proc procedural macros, so we can learn a proper derive macro. It is on my list to learn a derive macro for like the to string things, or to stir in our case. I guess, is there a way for me to take... You've written there before, they're not as scary as they may sound. Okay, I was reading the book chapter the other day off stream to sort of like prepare for this. And it was like, okay, here's like this type of macro, you know, this type of macro rules that we're doing. And it's like super simple. I'm like, great, this is awesome. And then you're like, okay, and the next 5 pages are devoted to procedural macros for the derive. I'm like, okay, that is much more overwhelming. But yeah, we'll get there. It'll be fine. So I guess if we do that, then it would generate those things. Now, I could also create some helpers, potentially even a helper macro. Or I can just have like maybe a helper on resource that we can call. Because if I give it a specific type, because I guess the idea here is, if we give it a U32, I want to get out this. I want to choose that thing. We could, instead of an if let, what if we move this to be a full match? Also, you can't beat my type there. If we have something like arm is a type, and we have cast for that, then what I want to do a match on arm. It's not going to be as automatic and nice, but then if I have something like, okay, we're going to have a U32 here, then that means we're going to be returning the data for that. So that would return self U32. I wonder if something like this would be really helpful for us. I wonder if just having that be a method. Can I test types together? Can I do like if arm equals arm? So like if we have this if let resource here, we can't yet do if and together, but if I do like if, no, because that won't work either. I think it's like the tuple that's screwing me up. I wonder if I would need to like choose something else, like a different data structure besides tuple enums to grab the data out. Or I might be overthinking it, which is probably true. What other types? I know that I can get different things in here. No, you're not gonna. Okay. Let's head on up to you. This is Rust Lang. Macro rules. No, you don't. Okay. Fine. There's macros by example. Sure, let's go take a look at macros by example. See, here's all these types, it looks like. Macro frag spec. Oh, here it is. Okay. It could be an item, maybe. Could be a pattern. Type path. Like, is that actual path or? Oh, wait. Is that literally what I want then? Okay, so can I use type path? What is this called? It's just a path. Okay, so this would be a path. So can I then do resource arm here? Then you would be a F32. No expected identifier found F32. Okay. Well, that's kind of what I wanted. Okay, so that wasn't it. I mean, unless REST Analyzer, I know the REST Analyzer doesn't really work with macros very well. So maybe I should actually run this. No, not that. And make sure that it's not actually failing, and maybe it'll tell me exactly where it's failing. Okay, so expected identifier. Found F32. Okay, so it's the same thing. Could be the issue that if you have an if there, which doesn't look like, oh, wait. You might be right. I totally forgot. We started writing it out. Okay. No. How could that not have the... Okay, well, it was a good idea, but apparently that wasn't the problem. And it also doesn't work when you change the type to ident. Let's try it. So then we change you to ident. It does work. Okay, perfect. So if we have this macro, it pulls in the type that it's going to be and the identifier of the macro. It's then going to generate all of this. Okay, that's pretty cool. So that means I can now replace you. I don't care about this U32 anymore. We're now going to say impl resource cast. You want a U32 and a U32. So if I run this, everything should still work. Nice. Okay, so let's say I want to do something a little bit more complex, which would be I want to use the BBECS point. So I'm gonna call this a point. You can also make the macro taking the name of the enum that we can use it on more than just the resource enum in case that's useful. Potentially, that's potentially correct. I'd have to look at how the cast works on the other one too. We have resource and we have component. So that might exactly be helpful. Okay, but let's say we have a point here, and this is going to hold a data point like this. So if I do that, now I want to impl resource cast point and point. So if I do that, then source point equals resource point new with like 15.0, 5.0. This point, we're gonna cast you and debug you. Oh, we have to tell you what you are. And that just works. Okay, so that's really cool. Bear Cool, hello, good morning. I'd also recommend moving the macros to the top of the file directly below the imports. Right, yeah, you know, that's a really good idea. I was initially thinking of inside of BBECS, having these, let's see, right below here. All right, so this is working. So if we do our nifty little expand trick, we can see that we now have all of these impulse coming in for our resource. And just to double check the error part of it, if I wanted to change this to like an F32, the code thinks it's going to be okay. Do we get a good error message when we run this? Yeah, we do. Result unwrap on an error value, error casting to resource F32. And it tells us the exact location of where that is too. Now, can I figure out where you're coming from? Can I figure out where you're coming from? So we have the new type. I don't think we do. I guess we have this type. But that's yeah, two resource of type. But I don't think we have. Oh, can I do like the current one that we have? Error casting. So can I stringify self? No, okay. I can't stringify self, but maybe instead of stringify, we can do a format. Format, and then this doesn't implement. Does it need like a toString? I guess we can add like a toString, can't we? Because I don't think I can do like a self like this. Research doesn't implement display. Okay, that's what it is. We need to display with it. And we might be able to do that here. Just for this enum. I mean, I don't think I can derive display. I don't think that's how it works. We could try anyways. Derive display. Oh, we can do a debug. Oh, that's what we can use. We can derive debug. We can do that. That works. Okay, error casting point, and then the actual point with its value to resource of type F32, and then the line where it's called. So super, super, super good error message at that point. I like it. All right. So I like this. Now, I want to go take a look at how we do. See, this is the one side we do this on. We also have components. Components are very similar. And so when we do cast and cast mute to these, we're doing a result. It's a different type of a return value here. We can see that it's going to return a RC ref cell T. But then besides that, it's pretty much the same. So I might be able to get away with this. So let's head back in here. Let's actually like implement our these components. It's still the same thing. We have an enum with component data. So let's try this again. we're creating those impulse. If we also have an enum component data, I just heard Zilby made a really weird noise behind me somewhere. I'm gonna go check to see how he's doing. Zilby, you okay? He seems to be fine. Maybe he saw like a shadow or something. Are you too high energy for petting right now? Yeah? You don't want to be here? Hi. Oh, you really want to play. That's what. Okay, I've got an idea for the playing with cat thing. I saw a ball down. I have no idea if he's gonna like this. He usually likes it when we throw balls around upstairs. We can try moving our cat cam here. Come on, Cable, don't move it. Let's try this cat cam. Oh, Zilby, did you run away? Zilby. I was too slow. He was looking for entertainment. I took too long to find him entertainment. All right. Well, if he comes back, we'll throw a ball for him. All right. We kind of did a pet for him. That was a very short pet. All right. So we have an enum component data. So this like stores very, very, very similar things here. We can see in these component data that we have the same idea of like the types, except what they hold in is different. So we can have something like an F32, but inside of this, we're gonna have an RC with a ref cell, and then finally inside of this, we have the item. So this would be something like an F32. So if we wanted to have our macro also work with this is a type. So we can store that away. Or we can have the macro where we just tell it this internal type here. So we have new type and the arm identifier. The arm identifier would be this thing. I think that I can use, let's see. I think we can do the impulse resource cast with an RC ref cell like F32 like this. I think that would work. What are you yelling about? Mismatch types, expected reference. To an RC. Oh, the problem. Yeah. Then we want the enum, so like the actual like data essentially. So this would be the data don't know if this is an expression. But then U would be data. You got to head out. Thank you, Lord Mist, for hanging out. We're gonna continue working on this. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Okay, so that's working there. All of these, we now have to tell them you're the resource. So expression is not correct. I don't think path is correct either. An ident? Maybe? That feels wrong here. Maybe a type. No. You can try ident. Doesn't seem to yell at us right away. And then for you, this is going to be component data. Expected enum resource. Right. Okay. So impl resource cast. Oh, because there's like different impulse with it too. I don't think this is a good idea. I think we should probably have the slightly different helpers for this. Yeah, I'm gonna undo this. I just don't like the way it's going and looking. So then I don't think we can use this impl here. I think we're gonna have to create another one, just for this. So let's create another macro rules here. This is gonna be impl component data cast. Because I forgot, we also have to have a different trait for these. So we have a trait. This component. This component cast. You take in a T. The big difference here is we want a function cast self, and you're returning a result with a reference to an RC ref cell T. That's our big difference here. So then with you, we're gonna have our type. So type you are a tie. And then we have our identifier, so that we have the arm. And you are an ident. Then inside of here, we're gonna impl component cast of type new type for and then it's going to be this component data. All right, so we'll have a function cast takes in a reference to self. We're going to turn a result. Results, which is in self going to have inside a reference to RC cell, and then the type too. So type. The way we're going to do this is if let self, no, if let component data colon arm can have our value is equal to self, then we're going to return an OK value, and it should already be this RC ref cell, so that should be fine. If it's not that, then we're going to bail. I'm going to say error casting component from to that. Okay, so from is going to be a that. So we're going to say self. Then the to is going to be a stringify of the new type, essentially. All right, so you're just yelling at me that we're not using you. So let's come down here. We have our enum. Now we're going to import component data cast. We're going to say an F32 and F32. Component data doesn't implement debug, so component data, we can fix that. I'm going to derive debug. Okay, so far, so happy. Now, if we want to do like the same thing that we were doing before, just going to copy you. Actually, it doesn't matter. We're going to do let our component. So an example component might be like a location. Let's do a size. We have a size. That's going to be equal to a component data. F32. We'll just say that you're 42.0. Then we want to cast this back. So that's not true. It can't be that way because this actually has to have an RC ref cell inside of it. So this has an RC new ref cell new, and then we can put our 42.0 inside of it. Okay, that gives us our size. Now we want to get this out. So we do a we can shadow you. So a size, we have to give it a type, which is going to be a reference to an RC ref cell F32 is equal to size dot cast, unwrap you, and then we'll debug size. No errors. We did get, we still have that other sort of like purposeful error here. This is a point. Let's actually put this back into like the appropriate one so we don't get any errors. Here we go. Okay, so our resource point, we're debugging that. And then here's our size, ref cell, the value. So notice we don't have the RC anymore. It's not showing that, but that's fine. It sort of like auto derefs, and there's some cool stuff that happens there. But if I want to get this thing out, we can cast here now. I don't think I can borrow off of here. Let's see. Mismatch types, right. I can't borrow yet. I have to cast it first, then we can borrow. So I can essentially dereference and borrow, or borrow mute to get mutable access to the size and like change it from there. So if we run this again, as far as we're concerned, that's just our number. We have access to the number right there. So this macro is really nice because that gives, like, we can now auto create all of these casts with much less work than we wanted to initially. So let's actually go and implement this and then try it out. So I'm going to what are you yelling about? Irrefutable if let pattern. What do you want to do? But you can't auto fix it. Let's see. Oh, right. It's irrefutable because it cannot be anything other than this. And that's only because we have this F32 here. Let's say I wanted to add in a U32. So we can do a U32. You're going to be this RC ref cell, not ref cell of a U32. Then we just copy you. You become a U32 and you become a U32. And then that's just a whole bunch of extra code added in for us. And that makes this happier. Okay, nice. So where do I want to put these macros? In BBECS, we have components and we have these resources. Let's do the resource one first. We actually have helpers in here. Here's our macro export. What am I doing in here? Oh, right. This is just the testing for it. Why am I getting all these like uses here? Oh, because like the, okay, this, the highlighting sort of feels a little bit weird. It's like a little bit hard to tell. I don't know if I like this. If I change you back to line comments, it's easier for me to see this. There. Now we can see, okay, we have these macro rules and then macro rules for get resource mute. But now I want to add in one more, but this is not going to be exported macro. This is going to be an internal macro only. So we're going to have macro rules, and this is going to be the impl. So actually we can just come down here, just steal you. So we have macro rules, impl resource cast. We have the new type, and then the arm that we're going for. We're going to do resource cast. Now we have to pull that in from, here's the trait resource cast from here. So we're gonna have to use super resource cast. Okay, that gives us that. We have the new type for resource. Okay, so what are you called? You're just resource. Okay, so we need to pull that in too. Yes, I know, you're not being used. Don't worry about it yet. Okay, for resource, function cast, brings in self, returns a result with the new type. I believe that's what this is. Cast result reference to type. And then we also have this cast mute, so we're gonna have to add that in too. So if let resource, okay, so the rest of this should be fine. But now we need function cast mute equals self result. Oh, we need result, the right result type. Use error result. Also need to pull in bail. I don't think we need to pull in format or stringify. I think it automatically figures those out. Okay, that should be fine then. Okay, so back to this. Cast mute is a result. You're gonna have a mutable reference to the type, which is our new type. Then it's pretty much going to be the exact same thing that we have here. So I should be able to copy you in here. If let resource arm is this value equals self, which is a mutable reference to self, then we're going to okay in the value. So that should be fine. Otherwise, we're going to bail, and then the same thing. Okay. Do I have to make this like public? Yeah, there's no such thing as like adding a public to that. So I wonder if I can now grab this out of here. So instead of like this U32, I would replace this and I would do impl use super helpers. Uh-oh. I guess I have to put it into the same file? How can I make this public? I mean, I'm also okay with making this be in the same file here. So if I save you, head back out to here. So underneath the use, put you. Let's see. Then we're gonna run impl resource impl resource cast. This is the U32 and U32. Unresolved macro bail. Okay, so we have to pull you in. So error result. I can't just pull you in, right? Yeah, you don't know how to do that because Rust Analyzer. Okay, what are you upset about? Conflicting implementations of trait. Okay, so what's our problem here? So here's our trait, resource cast. So resource cast with T. So this is the new type. We're going to return a result of reference to T, and for cast. So, I mean, will you actually just tell me what the problem is? A little bit better? Okay, so in that, oh, wait. It's because I've done it twice. So we're removing you, essentially. So if I comment you out, now you're happy. Okay. So just to make sure this is still working correctly, we can come back down to here and replace, we don't need you anymore. So I'm just going to delete you. Let's sort of like start over with this. Oh, also I'm going to delete, don't need you, and don't need you or you. Oh, the component cast was fine. Just don't need the resource stuff. And here's resource cast. Getting rid of you. Okay, so then in main, I want to say, we want to create a resource. So let, I wonder if I can just do this appropriately. So let world equals new. So we create a new world. I want to add a new resource. So we're gonna do world.add resource. We just did a U32, I want to say. Yeah, we did a U32 in here. So the name is going to be, let's say, I don't know, score. And your data is going to be like a 15 U32. And add resource, you don't even return an error. You just insert in. Why are you upset? Oh, you need to be a string, don't you? Okay, so that's happy. Then I want to get this resource out. So let score equals our world, get resource, score. I'm gonna unwrap you. That gives us an RC ref cell of the resource. I can then borrow it directly here. So we get a ref of the resource. And now let score of type reference a reference to a U32 is equal to score.cast. Unwrap you, and then we're going to debug score. I mean, no errors so far, but let's check it out. And it works. Okay, perfect. So that means for all of these types that we have here, for like the U32, all of you can be replaced. So, oh, here's a point. Well, fine. We'll do an impl resource cast. Point. Then all of this code, gone. We don't need it anymore. Oh, we want color too. Okay, impl resource cast. We want color. Actually, I think you're a... Oh no, you're just a color. Okay. All right. Nice. Oh, time for mesh. So impl resource cast for a mesh. This is a GGEZ mesh. Oh no, it's just mesh again. I love deleting huge chunks of code like this. It's so nice. Okay, F32. Epic Blar, good morning. It's really satisfying to see all those large copy and pasted blocks go. I know, it's super nice. Now we only have like one line copy and paste, which is perfect. Okay. I want now an impl for F32, and you're an F32. Goodbye. All right, what's next? U size. So impl, resource cast, size, U size. Boolean is next. Impl resource size. We have a bool and a bool. A key code. Resource cast, key code. And this is a GG. Okay, so GGEZ key code. A string. So here we called it a marker. Okay, then a text. This is a GGEZ text. I could probably have like copied and pasted this down here for multi-line editing fun. If we look at this, we have like a U32. How many do we have left yet? Oh, we have one left. Okay, you are sound data. Impl source cast. This is a sound data. And GGEZ sound. Oh, and look at this. Less than 100 lines of code for a huge amount of code for this file. Oh, it's so nice. Also, we no longer need this BBECS error in here. Ah, it's beautiful. I love it. Now, if I want to add a new type in, like an I32, it's no longer this like big deal of adding that in. It's actually really easy now. Okay, so let's see. We don't need any of you anymore. Okay, so what's next? Next is going to be the components. So in our components mod, here's our enum, and here's all of these. All right, we know the drill. So below this thing, I'm going to grab out these macro rules and stick them right in here. Okay, so impl component data cast. We have our new type, and the arm. It's close to the same thing, but there's just some very, very subtle differences. So first of all, the trait is called cast component with our new type for component data. Okay, so we have that. We actually only need a cast. We don't need a cast mute. And we only need a cast because we're getting back this RC ref cell T. We're never ever going to use cast mute because you don't need a mute of the RC. The ref cell is going to allow us to borrow mute inside of it. Okay, so we're just going to have this cast. And it's going to take in a reference to self and return a result of this reference to an RC ref cell and then the new type. Okay, so this is fine here. So if let component data, so there's that. of arm value equals self, self. Okay, the value, that should be fine. Otherwise, bail, and that should also work for us. So let's say I want to replace this point right away. I'm gonna take you out. Yeah, point is first. So we're gonna do a impl component data cast point. And a point. Unresolved import bail. Okay, we're gonna come back up here to where is my result. Bring in bail. And now the only thing that's yelling at us is all of these impulse. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove, it doesn't matter. I'll keep that one. All of these impulse all the way down. Go away. And then we can now just multi-line this thing. Okay, so I want to do these. Okay, so how do I want to do this? I care mostly about, let's just go home first, this way to end. So here's our arms that we care a lot about. Actually, you know what? I care also about the insides of these too, don't I? So I go this. Okay, that gives me the front one. So we're gonna go home. We're gonna do an impl component data cast bang. Gonna give it the type. One right, and there we go. And we just need to pull in sound data. And there we go. We've imported everything we need. We don't need this BB-ECS error anymore. We've now added all of these impulse for our types in here, which is super, super, super nice. Okay, there is in world, we have the world methods. How similar are these to ourselves? So we have impl default. Okay, so we have impl world method point for world. These are pretty much the same that I'm seeing here, like name, stir, result, that thing, insert, name and data. Look at this. This is literally exactly the same code over and over and over again. So we have add resource. As the only difference here is what we use here. That's the only difference. So I think we can create a macro for this as well. Let's do it. Up here, after our last use, I'm gonna create a macro rules, impl world, world traits. All right, so what are we gonna care about? We're gonna care about that type again. So call this the new type. You are a type. We're gonna care about the arm that we're caring about. So that's gonna be the arm. and you're a ident. Then in here, we're going to impl world methods of type for world. We have these two functions here. So we have a function with component, taking a mutable reference to self, taking a name, which is a stir, taking a data, which is this, new type. We're going to return a result with a mutable reference to self. Okay, so implementing this. With component, we actually can see this down here. Can actually just pull you out. Okay, so we're going to take self, take our entity data, which we see is right here, entity data. And then we insert, pass in the name, and pass it in the data. Okay, and we question mark that to return the result error. All right, self.bitmap, that insert, pass in the name, okay, and then return okay and self. So far, so easy. Add resource. That's next. Let's go down and grab an add resource. Okay, so we have add resource with component. There's nothing special about this, so we'll just come down here. Our data is going to be a new type. Add resource. Oh, you don't even return anything. Yeah. Why is there? No, skip that song. Self resources, insert, name resource, and then you're going to be the arm. And then we pass it in the data. Okay, so this should now allow us to completely replace all of these impulse too, which is really nice. And we're doing this just for all of the types that we have across, well, pretty much everything, don't we? So we have, let's see, after this, we have point, color. Right, because we have a with component and add resource, meaning we have to have both of them. So I can come back to resources. I think this one is probably easier. Copy you. So here's default. All right, time for us to do our magic again. What is this called? This is impl world trait. So impl world trait, we have our type. So let's go to the end. Okay, copy you. So we want the type in here, and then we want the arm. So that's you. That should be you. And delete. So then you should be upset Oh wait, we need to pull in sound data. You should be upset because we're conflicting. Okay. And then we have sound data for this too. So then we're gonna come up here and delete all of these. It's gonna be glorious. It looks like you're a Vim master doing Vim magic, but I'm in VS Code. I don't even have Vim mode turned on in VS Code. I don't know. It's just like multi-line is fun. I know that there's a way to like, I know there's plugins in Vim to set up multi-line editing, but I also know like it's not really that necessary because you could just use some quick down and dirty regular expressions to do the exact same thing. But okay, look at this. We have completely replaced a whole bunch of these impulse like 3 times with just macros. So nice. So what I'm actually gonna do is I want to run the tests now in world. They should all pass still. And they do. Okay, perfect. Which means I can commit all those changes. So for BBECS, we're placed impulse, or I guess like the manual impulse with macros that generate impulse. Okay, what's next? You, I think? Yeah. We did that. Okay, so next up is generate new tests based on a different type. Okay, so if I want to create some tests, let's come back into here. Let's just sort of reset ourselves. We have a function main, and here we are. Let's create a library, and we can write our testing type stuff in here. So let's say I want to do something with like different types in it, and we're gonna have like our macros to like generate these types based upon it. So if I create one macro with like a similar, then it should work. Let's create a function that takes in a generic, and then we want to write the test for a different one. So we can try like maybe something very simple in math. So if I want a pub function, actually this could just be a function run. Oh, we can do add. Okay, so we can do add. Do I have to have structs for? No, I don't think I have to have structs for types, do I? But we can have like T for that. We're gonna have like 2 different things. So we can have like the left side. And that's gonna be a T. Right hand side, which is a T. And we're gonna return a T. And so the way this works is we're just gonna say left plus right and return you together. All right, we have to restrict T though. So where T, should we pull in the num crate or like, I guess where T implements add? I can't do a where in there. I think it's T is add in here. Let's see. Found associated type T as output. Found associated type T add output. Oh, do I need like add output? Oh, that's a struct. I don't want that. How can I restrict this to like be the same thing that you are in? Expecting T. I mean, I guess I could also you could like pull in like the num crate. Let's see. Found associated T s inner ops add output. What can I give it to like let it know what it is? Standard like F32. What do you have in it? Do you have a trait? Let's go find traits. Let's go to like F32. See what traits you have. Okay, so we have add. Oh, there's 2 adds. There's no like output. Was it the wrong add that I put in? So let's add this. Standard ops add. Oh no, okay, this is standard ops add. Okay, so that's what I want. Associated types output. Required methods add. Okay. What else do we have? Do we need clone and copy? We could try giving it clone copy. Can't imagine that's helpful. So we have add clone copy. No, yeah. So you're still telling me that it's found associated type output. But when I add them together, I want to get the initial value, not output. So if I do add here, so input add for point, type output equals self. Oh, wait. Oh, wait. Okay. Do I have to do this type output? Type put equals. I can't do self because it's not implemented on that. So I can only do this in a struct? Is that? I may cheat. I may use the number crate. Because okay, these have a you tell me what they are? No. Let's see. Traits for num. This is a base trait. We could actually go and take a look at it and what it does. So public trait num is partial equal 0, 1, and num ops. Num op. Let's try that. Let's see. Partial equal 0, 1, num ops. I feel like this isn't right. Okay, I don't think these exist. These are its own traits, aren't it? Okay, core ops, we have these. These core num wrapping, interesting. Hub use identities. Okay, so they have their own stuff in here. So maybe just to make this really fast. This is the num, the crate num. So just pull in num. Then in here, we can just say, hey, where T is, as soon as it finishes pulling things in, where T is a num. Maybe, almost. Oh, you don't like it? No, I need to pull in num. Okay, here we go. Now we're ready to do this. We're gonna do our config for test, mod tests. All right, so if I wanted to write my test like just on my own for this, I would create a test like this. We'd have a function, can add, like, I don't know, can add floats. And then I would want to assert equal that, like, I don't know, that add with like 15.0 f32 is, and I don't know, 25.0 f32, that you're equal to 15 plus 25, what, that's 30, 40. I can even check f32. So if we do this, what are you upset about? Oh, wrong type. It's, you're a config. That, is it square brackets? Oh, I super forgot how to do this. It's oh, config test. That's what it is. Okay, so then you strict comparison. Yeah, let's allow this. Allow compare. And let's run this as test. Cargo test. So behind the scenes, since we're working with generics here, it's going to create a whole bunch of add functions, one for each type of number that we need. And then we see, okay, it passed the test. So we can successfully add two numbers together. Now, if I want to now create a test for add based upon this number, and just have it for different types, then we're going to want a macro for that. So let's actually create a macro under this use here. So create a macro rules. And this will be test add. And I think we'll want the my type. NG battery. Hello. Did somebody say generics? Yes. We're using a little bit of generics here. You're a tie. Then I don't really care about the rest of you because you're just going to do the thing. So I want you to expand to function like testing I don't know if this would work. Testing because I can't testing with testing add with type. I don't think I can do like stringify here. Oh, Like, how can I make sure that it's a unique name? So it's such interesting. Like, I don't know how to make it a unique name. Because if I just do like type there's no way this could work. And then essentially we would just do the assert equal. So assert equal add. Let's do the same example here. So 15.0 you're the my type. 25.0 my type. I probably don't want the dot zero. I want just that. And I want to make sure that you're 40 of my type. You know almost nothing about Rust. How do you like it, and how does it compare to other languages? So I like Rust. It's sort of like a puzzle to me. It's a puzzle because there's like a lot of things you can't do that other languages just let you do. The compiler is like, they claim it's like a tutor for you. In fact, I think that's what they call it behind the scenes. Like, it's a tutor. It's more like a pair programmer who's just like really strict. I like it a lot, but caveat, I've never programmed professionally with it. I've mostly programmed like fun, creative things. So there's a lot of like caveats in that way. The thing that feels the most unique about Rust is definitely the borrow checker. Yeah. That's the thing. That's what I mean by like it's like your pair programmer telling you, no, you can't do that. Can't do that. Okay, now you can do that. Good job. We're good to go. I've never programmed in C++. I did C a little tiny bit a long time ago, but not enough for me to like really remember like the pains of it very well. And so therefore I've been more of like more front-endy type languages, like a little bit of Python, a lot of Node and JavaScript. Let's see, what other languages were I? What was I? I mean, in the last like 5-10 years, that's all I've been doing really, is just like JavaScripty and I guess like shell scripty type things. So coming to like this as like just feels like it's a more like I have more tools that it gives me. But if you're coming from something like Java or C++, you're going to have a completely different experience than I have, simply because you just know more about what's going on in those languages than here. That being said, I love it. Okay, so if we do, it can add floats. I want to replace this now. I want to also add in a test here. Okay, so now we want to do a test add, and our type is going to be an F32. So if we just do that, what are you upset about? Expected a bang. There's my type in here. Unresolved macro self F32. Yeah. Oh, look at that. Expected this F32. If I create another name, can I do something really crazy? Can I do like a not a stringify, but like a format in here? I mean, I might be able to. So if I do a format of test add with type, oh, you need to be in a string, and then you're going to be the stringify of my type. Yeah, okay. So it doesn't like this because it doesn't know how to like to create this for it. And I don't think I can convert this multiple times. So if we do like test add with type, so let's actually add in a name here. Name is ident name, and then down here we just do F32 twice. Expected that. Okay, so you can't be an ident. Can you be a name? No. We need to go look at what our options are. We tried ident, I think. Maybe I didn't do it right. I guess we could try an item too. So let's try ident again. Don't remember if I tried this one. Yeah, okay, so it doesn't like that. We could try item. Okay, so it likes that up here and it doesn't like you here. Expected item. Oh, that's not an item. I don't even know what an item is in this case. What are you? Modules, external trace, use a function definition. Oh, okay. That's definitely not one. A pattern? Could it be an expression also? I have an F32, make you expression. What a pattern. Ident didn't work. Meta? Also, I'm not testing out if like making this a string doesn't work here. How about like okay, so it's not actually checking this until I try to run it. That's my problem here. Because I don't think I can do something like, hey, you're my type. Like I think we tried this before, and it says, hey, actually, you don't even tell me what the problem is. Yeah, expected. Okay, so it wants this to somehow be a different name. So like dynamically setting the name of a function with a macro. Because I want this to be replaced, but I don't know if I can do that. And I don't think... Wait a second. Did I just forget this? Is that my problem? If I do my type again. Okay. And I don't think I can do anything crazy like have stringify bang my type in here. Yeah, okay, so I can't like call a macro to generate this. So that's you back. So my type doesn't work because you're a type. What if I do like we have the name? Now we could just try the different things. So it's not an item. Probably not a block expression. We could try statement. So you'd be an F32 and F32. So you're not those things. Expression. Okay, you're not one of those things. Ident. Expected identifier, and we found a string. Okay, so it doesn't like that. So I can do like an F32 as this. So that's unfortunate. Ooh, wait. Did you find it? Can I build a function name? Okay, hold on. Can I build a function name from arguments to macro rules? You don't need to write a proc macro for this. You could just use paste. Okay, so here's the function name, which is, okay, it's an ident. Paste item. Okay, so paste item is a macro. Oh, there's a crate. Okay, so it's a crate that lets us do this. Oh, so it's going to be similar to like a handlebars type thing where I'm replacing these. Wait, okay, so paste. Let's macros for all your token pasting needs. I mean, it's been downloaded a lot. All right, let's take a look let's look through this. Defines a constant called QRST. I think there's a canonical solution to exact. I think it is too, yeah. Because like we have paste, public function, yeah, here it is. Get underscore field, with field being passed in here. Yeah. So let's try it. Paste. You are 1.05 now. Okay. All right. So what we want to do is this is going to be the name. It's going to be an ident. We have to use paste. Specifically, we have to use paste. Okay. We're going to take in the field name, and then down here, we have to run paste. Impl name. And then looking at this example, paste item. Is there more? Okay, we have an expression, an item, and paste itself. Okay, so if I just use paste, which is completely useless because I just use paste like that. So paste item, then we just do our test in here like that. Then function. Okay, so then that's just that thing. And everything else is exactly the same, I think. Paste basically adds this syntax for pasting multiple identifier fragments into one identifier. The one tricky bit is the split between paste item for item position and paste expression for expression position. All right. Let's try it. I'm going to move this over to the right so I can watch it over here. Okay, so we have these macro rules. We have test add. We bring in the my type, and we bring in the name, which is an identifier. So then here, we're going to have a paste item. Going to bring in our test. Then we're going to have a function. Test add with type. Looks like they have weird spacing in here too. So it'd be like space dollar name. There's that. Then we can open and close. Do this, and then bring in our assert equal. And then the rest of that should be the same. Send you here. Expected one of these other things found in F32. Missing a comma. What did I... These look right. These look very much not right. Like the color sort of like hitting with this is completely off. Are there other errors? Okay, let's actually try running this and get the real errors. All right, so that is the error here. So in add, it's really unhappy here. Do this need to be not a type, but an identifier? Is that my problem? Is that you can't be a type, but rather an ident? Twice? Maybe. Now what is your problem? Wait a second. Okay. Unexpected token F32. So if I remove you, we just have F32s in here, an ident with type goes in here. Now what's your problem? Okay, so expected closing found F32. Okay, so it doesn't like my like underscore to try to like set what this type is. So I thought that I could do this with a tie. Like, I thought I would be able to say, like, tie for this to make that happy. But definitely, apparently not. I don't think I can do an expression. Oh, it's still having the same problem here. Like, it doesn't like that either. All right, let's continue looking at this. So you're just doing these like hard-coded those numbers in. Let's try it without taste. Paste. Um, let's try this just like really simple version. Like if I just do, okay, we have a type here. I just do testing, cert equal, add this. Like, okay, we need to fix this first before we can move on to like the naming. Okay, so found expected F32. Like I can do maybe an as. I don't. Like that this may work. I don't know if it's a good idea though. And I might even be able to do this. Now, can I do oh, you're okay. As so if I test add with an F32 here. You work. Okay. I don't necessarily like that. If we do our nightly expand, what do you look like? Oh, we can do okay, so here's our function. Oh, we need to tell it to be the test, don't we? You know what we can do? We could just not have this. If I removed the config test, it should just always have that in there, shouldn't it? So here's our mod test. Super. Wait a second. Did you not do the thing? if I don't even have like the mod, if I just have these out up here. No. You don't expand. It just creates the function add. Okay. So I'm not seeing it expand everything else. I was kind of expecting it to use these macro rules test add. I don't think it's something like that's causing a problem. No. Probably the test annotation. Okay, we could remove this. There we go. Okay, so now we have the function testing. Huh. Thank you, Oscar Allen. We get heading out, NG Battery. Well, thank you for hanging out with us for a little bit. And have a great rest of your day. Okay, I think you're correct. Removing that line did make it. So let's see. It's a matching. So add, we have a 15, 25, and a 40. Interesting. I didn't know that it's a match behind the scenes. Is what it's doing, is creating a match. And then it's panicking. Interesting. Now, what are you upset about? Strict comparison. Hey, I said allow. Do I have to do this for every function? Oh, I think I do. Okay, so now that we've got this working, now I don't like this. I would love to be able to turn this into like whatever I want. So I don't think it's an expression. What am I doing? Where am I going? I don't think it's going to be an expression. Could it be meta? What is an attribute? Oh, wait a second. We can use the same. Can we use the. Or am I? There, I want this. Can we use the same paste? So if we do paste, why don't you have this? Paste item. Then for this, I want you to be and then you're gonna be our item. So what is it, 15 and 25? So it would be 15 underscore dollar type. Would be the left-hand side, and the right-hand side would be 25 underscore my type. And then you would be the same thing here. So actually we could just move you to out here where we're just gonna have add 15 underscore that, 25 underscore this. Close parentheses like that. Then you're gonna be 40 underscore my type as well. Then close, close. So if we do that, what are you upset about? We don't know. Errors, I think. Hold on. Unexpected token. You have to be an identifier, not a type, right? Ident. Did I do that wrong? Paste item. Function open. Okay. Oh, there's a space between these. My type is an ident. Okay. I mean, I think. The same problem. So unexpected token. Will you tell me exactly, like, you can't tell me exactly what you want. So I can't have it give. Okay, so we have like the mod name, ident. Okay, so it doesn't like these. So we have paste item. Trying to add this with like add. This is really unhelpful. Now, what if I do let like left? It won't do a cast automatically. So if I try to do something like 15 underscore and then like the type, I don't think that will work. I think we can create. I think the as is like the closest we can come here. Now, what we're actually hoping to do is for BBECS, I want to be able to write the tests for doing everything. So I want to be able to create a world, like for each type, create a world, add a resource, get the resource, cast the resource, reference, cast the resource as mutable reference, then create a component, insert the component, add the component in, get the component out, cast the component. Essentially, that's what I wanted to do for every single type. Maybe I don't need to do it. Maybe I don't need to do it quite as much as that. Maybe I can just build these here. So we have our in BBSES, we have tests. So if I create a new file here, So testing types. And that's all we need to do is just have like a test in here. So we would create a macro. Can I not create a macro rules? So macro rules, the name of the macros, this will be test by type. So test world by type. Then it's just bang. We have open and close with fat arrow, and then it does the thing. Okay. So then our identifier would be the type. So I don't know if I can do type. That's a reserved word, but maybe I can. Tie. So then there's several different tests that we want to create here. So we want to do a test. We could potentially do the pasting in here, but if we just do to begin with, with like, oh, a different mod for like the different type. So we have a name, which is a expression. So if we just test name, let's say, return a result, which then this needs to be use result. Okay, so we probably want this to be like in a mod. So it's creating like a new mod for it with the different functions inside of that. Okay, so we have like a mod, name. Then you go inside of this. Then instead of testing name, this is going to be like, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to, the other thing is going to insert, so like cast resource, immutably. I don't think that's spelled correctly, but whatever. My spelling check isn't flagging it, so there's that. Then this is going to be test. Actually, we already did test, didn't we? I need that. Are you just yelling it because it's not used? Yeah, okay, fine. We're going to use you. This is going to be our test world by type. For our first type that we're going to care about, let's just try an F32 because we know that exists. And the name, that's going to be the mod. So testing world, testing F32s. So the name, okay, it can't be that. Can be ident. So far, yes. Okay. Then you're just not expecting an identifier found. Oh, I don't want to do that. All right. So then we're gonna. Okay, like this. The end. You need to be a error result. That should be fine. I don't have any other use. Okay. Upstairs, there's apparently a little bit of cooking banging going on. Probably like slamming things down and chopping things up. Cargo test. Can I test this specific thing? I think I can. I want that to be the error result, which I don't think I have to give it 2 type arguments. Do I just have to say error result? There you go. Okay, so I just have to tell it specifically to use an error result. All right, so have our error result in. Now we want to cast a resource immutably, so we want to, let's see, let's, sorry about the noise. I may have to mute until that's done. Okay, so I think this will work for very simple types like this 10. But what if I wanted to do something like a point? Like the mesh. There's going to be diminishing returns really quickly. So if we go take a look at our types and resource, just in resources, we have these. So just to begin with, this is GGEZ color. Is there a default? No. There's no, okay, so it doesn't implement default, so I don't think I can do the testing for this. I would probably need to write a you know what I would need to do? I would need to write my own wrapper around color in order to handle this. It would essentially be the facade pattern for GGEZ's color. And then that would allow me to create a color for this. That would work. Because then I could use default for everything. Although I'm curious, do like basic numbers implement default? All right. So we can do it with these types that we have in the world. We just can't do it with these ones because of the traits. Doesn't make it makes sense because these are outside of my control. I really probably should use something like the facade pattern in my library, so that way I'm not reliant upon them. But that's neither here nor there. That can be changed in the future. So basically, then we can start adding in new tests. For we cast resource immutably first, and now we're going to cast it mutably. What happened? Did I cut? I must have cut, or I must have pasted instead of cut, or copied. All right, so now we're going to cast resource mutably. Okay, so create a world, create the new resource of this type, add the resource in to the world. Gonna get the wrap resource out. Now we're gonna borrow mute, and you have to be mute here. You're now gonna be a mutable reference to this resource when we cast mute. Expected result equals this, and then yeah, that should work. What we could do even on top of this is like make a change to it. That being said, with the default, making a change is gonna be really hard. So I'm just gonna make sure that these work. So if we do that and run all these tests, yeah, and we can see, okay, testing U32s. I'm not seeing. Cast resource mutably. I'm not seeing the mutably here. 6 tests passed. We have 6 of these. That makes sense. But why didn't it create these? Oh, wait. I know why. Because in my test, I'm only doing those. What about... Can I hand it the file name? Testing types? No. Just test them all. Here we... Testing Boolean. Okay, here we go. Here's all these dynamic tests that are being created, which is perfect. So this is casting resources mutably, and then I would want to add in tests for querying. I guess like inserting the components and querying them out, I think would be the next thing to do. So have test function like query for component, query component. It doesn't really matter what that is at that point in time. All right, what do you not like? Oh, yeah, need to return. Failures. Left is 1, right is 0. I'm not even doing anything. Where is this finding it? So all of you failed, but how? That's strange. Why would this fail? I'm not even doing an assert. Huh, this left is 1. Okay, so you need to register before inserting components. That's what it is. Forgot to register. Is it register component? It's just register. That's what my problem is. There you go. There we go. Okay, so we've got our component in there. So if I want to query this out now, we can use that. We can use the other macro for querying, even though we have tests for that, I believe. So we can just do it by hand or not. It doesn't really matter. So we have. In components, helpers. Here's our macro rules. We have 2, right? Or we have only 1. Okay, come on. We have one macro here. So this is called a query macro. So I would want to pull this in. You're in components helpers. Okay, so yes, components helper. Oh, right. That's not how it works. You can just pull it out of here. So query that. Perfect. Then down here we can use. So query thing like this. Here. You have to pass in the world. Then query expression, all these, how it works. Query world, the query size. Oh, and like what we're looking for. Oh, right. We have to create this query here. Oh, right. I forgot. That's how it works. So it's query. It's that. then we can get these out of here like this. So like query, and then we can do let equals pass in query, and then looking for a component. We get components. So that should work. Yeah, okay. Unnecessary. Okay. Sure, if you say so. Then we get our components out. Now it's time to use them. We can get the first one actually. So let component equals the first one. We want to borrow it first, and then we can cast it. So borrow. It's gonna be a wrapped component. Component, which is gonna be a oh no, it's not borrow, it's cast first. Okay, hold on. So we have to do this as a reference to an RC. Ref cell. What are you? You're a type. Type equals this dot. I'm gonna cast you. Then we can component equals a wrapped component dot. We can then borrow it. So at this point, we can actually just check equality. So we can now assert equal. It's going to be a wrapped component, so a dereferenced wrapped component. Borrow. You're going to be equal to type default. So that should work. We do need to pull in RC and ref cell, which you don't know how to do. Don't remember how to. Where is RC? Standard RC. Okay. Use standard RC cell. We need cast components. So this is in resource cast. Also need to use SES. So this is in components. I guess it was just gonna be cast components. Okay, you're not in RC. Oh, you're in cell, standard cell. No method, name for cast. Oh, why am I doing that? This is components of 0. That's what I want to do. So look at this. Cannot cast index into a value of type. Oh, because it's a tuple. Well, that's why I was trying to do this. You don't want me to use parentheses. Oh, okay. So if I don't use the parentheses, we're gonna have to use .0. Then I can do that. And then that works. Okay, so then now we're able to have tests for querying the components as well. So all of that done through here. So hundreds, if not 1,000 lines of code created just from these 50 something lines of code. So that's really cool. So we can keep on adding to these if we need to. We have the other tests to sort of like test other things, but I'm happy with this so far. What misspelling does it? Oh, U sizes? Yeah, you're fine. We know U sizes. So I'm gonna go ahead and also commit these changes. So dynamic testing for world. Yeah, that's good enough. Let's take a look at what we've got left in our to-do. So we've now have that. We can generate new tests based upon a different type. So we know how to do that. Finally, convert an enum to a static stir. This actually has nothing to do with BBECS. So I can go ahead and for BBECS, let's open up cargo.toml and bump the version. We haven't actually, I'm gonna bump this up to 2, 0.2.0. And close all of you down. All right, so what did we do here? We added in, so added in macros to help use the crate. And I'll go ahead and push that up. That's going to run all the tests in our CI/CD and then auto deploy that to crates.io when it's done. That does take like 10 plus minutes, so I'm probably not going to wait around for that. The next thing for us to do is this convert enum to static stir. So what do I mean by that? I want to take an enum and you do something like what strum does. If we go and take a look at what strum is, I was right on it, right here. It's macros for working with strings. I just want to like understand what's happening behind this, the string. So like we can do this as refster. I want to understand how this works. I want to build my own version of this, even if I still use strum, behind the scenes, probably because they're better. But if we do, oh man, they even have like we can override what it is. That's really nice. But here we can see, okay, this yellow is literally going to be like red as ref. Gives me this red. I want to learn how to do that, and then we'll be ready to start figuring out what our next project is going to be. I am not going to do that right now though, because it is after 12 and I'm getting really hungry, and I need to go up and grab lunch for myself. So with that, thank you everybody for sticking around for that. Sorry about the muted for like the last little bit. It was getting pretty loud upstairs and I didn't want to be bothering you all. And I know some people who watch can get what is it called? Actually I just saw Bear Cow went live. Migraines. Yeah, I want to like trigger any migraines from that if possible. So my plan is to be back online tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Mountain Time. We'll be then working on this type of, probably going to be the derive. We're going to work on the derive macro just to understand how that works, to create our own, so we can create our own version of this. And then I don't know if we're going to be able to get that all done in one day. I usually only have about an hour and a half at most to do those streams. So it might be a few days to do that. Anyways, If I see you tomorrow, I'll, it'll be awesome. And if I don't, I'll see you whenever the next time is. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you whenever the next time is. Bye.